Hello everyone, I'm Amit Guptani, Assistant Professor in Mechanical Engineering Department at Dr. Subhash Technical Campus, Junagadh. I welcome you all on today's presentation related with the subject Industrial Engineering. In our today's presentation, we will study about the topic that is entrepreneur. So before we begin our today's presentation, let us have an overview of today's presentation. The first topic that we will study, that is definition of entrepreneur, characteristics of entrepreneur, sources of industrial finance, and government incentives to entrepreneurs. So let us begin with our first point of discussion, that is definition of entrepreneur. So what is an entrepreneur, or what is an entrepreneur, or what is the definition of entrepreneur? Let us try to understand. So entrepreneur can be defined as a person who establishes his own business or industrial undertaking with a view of making the profit. So he is a person who wants to develop his own business and taking industrial undertakings with a view to make a profit. Or it can be defined as, according to J.S. Compter, defined entrepreneur as a person who introduces innovative ideas or changes in an entrepreneur, and he is an integral part of an economic growth. So the person who manages or who plans in a proper way his innovative ideas and converts them into a business, that can also be defined as an entrepreneur, and he is an integral part of a country's economy, because he will contribute to the economy of the country. So he is an integral part of economical growth of the country. Or it can be defined as dynamic person who innovates, assemble inputs, selects human power to perform the required functions, and creates wealth for himself as well as for the society by his innovative ideas and managerial capabilities and willingness to take risk in uncertain market. So another definition says that he is a dynamic person who manages his ideas, his thoughts, his inputs, his innovations, and selecting the human power, that is assembling of inputs, selecting of human power for doing the business, for performing the required functions which he has in his mind, and converting that in the form of wealth, in terms of money, for himself as well as for the society, betterment of society, by his innovative ideas and its management skills and his willingness to take risk when the market is uncertain. So it's all about a person who is dynamic, who is willing to take risk, who is having ideas, who wants to innovate, and how he is assembling those input parameters or input resources for the creation of wealth for himself as well as for the society. So that can be defined as an entrepreneur. So this is all about the definitions, various definitions of entrepreneur. Let us move forward to our second point of discussion, characteristics of entrepreneur. So what should be the characteristics an entrepreneur should have? The first is risk taking ability. Yes, he should be having that guts, okay? He should be having that much ability within, okay? He should be able to take risk, because it has been said that without risk you cannot achieve anything. Somewhere you will have to take risk in whatever sectors you are going, or in whichever field you select. There should be risk that is always involved. So to become an entrepreneur, the characteristics that is required, that is risk taking abilities. So during the failure or due to failure, the entrepreneur should not be withdrawing his business. There may be some time, every time it is not necessary that the time will be good only in the market. Sometimes there may be recession in the market. So During that period, he should not withdraw, or he should not take away or stop the business. But what he must do, he must revise the plan according to the demand of the market. He must revise his plan according to the demand of the market and take risk accordingly. So he should be aware of the market situations, what should be the steps he must take. So he should revise his plans according to the requirement or according to the demand of that particular products and take risk accordingly. So the first characteristics that an entrepreneur must have, that is risk taking ability. Second is self confidence. It plays a huge role in anyone's life, whether it's business, whether it's a job. Self confidence is everything. If the person has self confidence or self belief in his abilities, then he can reach heights, he can reach higher heights easily. So if there is a lacking of self confidence, then there will be the hurdles, there will be some obstacles that will come when you are doing any business. So if the self confidence level is higher, he can easily tackle those hurdles that can come in his way, and he will be able to create new ideas, he will be able to think differently positively. But if he is lacking that self confidence, then innovative ideas and that cannot be possible. So second characteristics that an entrepreneur must have, that is self confidence. Next, again, self confidence. Over self confidence or overconfidence is not a good thing. You are overconfident in something, it will result in a bad result ultimately. So you should have a balance between confidence and overconfidence. So but calculated risk taking person with self confidence can drive the business. So you should have a balance between confidence and overconfidence. Then passion, innovations and respective initiatives. Yeah, must have passion to do the business. Innovations, should have some new ideas, and he must be able to take initiative to implement that innovation, whichever the thoughts that are going on in his mind related to that product. He should take an initiative irrespective of results. So entrepreneur has to take initiative, has to identify the new opportunities in the market along with new ideas of business. So if you want to start something, the ideas that you are having, the innovative ideas that is coming in your mind, you must at least take initiative irrespective of the results. Then and then you will be aware what are the problems that you are facing. Once you have taken the initiative, then you will find many other ways also to solve the problems that can arise. So has to identify new opportunity in the market, one has to take the initiatives. Then entrepreneur should have desire to accomplish the goals according to his pre-decided plans. According to the plans, whatever the goals that he has set, should have desire to accomplish at any cost. So he should have a desire to accomplish the goal, to achieve the goal. He must have a desire, and there should be proper planning to achieve that. Next, fourth characteristics that an entrepreneur must have, that is curious about new informations. Curious means he is eager, he is so much eager to gain new information, new knowledge, new ideas. So entrepreneur has to continuously update about various kinds of knowledge such as market conditions, strategies of competitors, need of customers and new technology updatations. So he should be curious, he should be so much eager, he must be so much active. Whatever the things are going in the market, what are the current situations in the market, what are the strategies that competitors are adopting or they are using, then what are the needs are there of the customers, that everything he should be eager to know, and he should be active all the time. And new technologies, whatever are the technologies that are adopted or updated, he must be eager to learn also and implement. So curious about new informations, he should be curious to know new things. Also be aware of new financial sources and its procedure to obtain financial support. He should also be aware that how to gain new financial sources, how to get the financial sources. So from where to get the money, where to get the wealth, and its procedure to obtain the financial support. He must be also be aware how to get the financial supports from the various industries or various institutions who provide the financial support. So he should be having good knowledge of that also. Fifth is critical analyzer and foresight. Entrepreneur should have ability to critically examine to analyze the situation what he faces. So the situations will not come by knocking your door, it will arise suddenly. So he must be in a position to examine whatever the problems, whatever the tasks, or whatever the problems that arises. So he must be able to critically examine that and accordingly take the decision. He should be also develop foresight vision. So foresight vision is nothing but he should be aware that whatever the things in future he wants to do, or in future whatever he wants to do, so for that whatever the steps he must take, whatever the requirements he wants for the future, that must be known in advance. Or whatever the things that will be needed in future, he must be having a good vision of that things, or whatever are the requirements, or whatever the things will be needed in future, he should have a good vision of that things also. Next characteristics an entrepreneur must have, that is problem solving capabilities. Must have problem solving capabilities, because to achieve success without hurdles is nothing but the mere daydream. Yes, it's very truly said. Okay, everyone has a bad day in the office, so to tackle that bad days, or to tackle those obstacles or the problems that arises, he should be having problem solving capabilities also, so that hurdles can be easily tackled and he can manage the situation better, in a better way. So he should have problem solving capabilities also. They must be continuously flexible in business as per the demand of customers, as well as to deal against the strategies of competitors. Yes, they should be flexible, because market situation changes periodically, or it can change anyway, but he should be flexible. He should be aware of the demands of the customers and how to deal with the strategies of the competitors. He must be capable. Next, seventh type of characteristics, that is qualitative organizer. So he should be a good qualitative organizer. He should be able to handle all those resources that is available with him, such as man, material and machine, and market situations. So an good entrepreneur should have these characteristics, that is qualitative organizer. He should be able to manage those workers, machines, materials and market situations in a better way. So this is all about characteristics of an entrepreneur. Moving forward to our third topic of discussion, sources of industrial finance. So finance plays an important role. Whichever industry or organization wants to either develop new, or do the expansion, or do any modernization in their business, there are several sources of finance which will help them. So discussing about the sources of industrial finance, we will discuss the first a brief description of various sources who are helping for their expansion or diversification or modernization or initiation of their business. The first is retained earning. So what is retained earning? So the portion of net earnings of the company that is not distributed as a dividends is known as retained earning, and the amount of retained depends on the dividend policy of the company. It is generally used for the growth and expansion of the company. So retained earning is nothing but whatever the profit, whatever the net earnings is there of a company, that is retained by the company and it is not distributed as a dividends. Dividends is nothing but distribution of or some percentage of profits of the company that is distributed to its customers. That profit is distributed to the customers, and for that the word that is used, that is called dividend. So that amount is retained, and again it depends on the dividend policy of the company, whether they want to retain it with them or they want to distribute among their customers. So if it is retained with them, then it is called retained earning, and that can be utilized for the further expansions or the growth of the company. Next, trade credit. So here the trade is extended by one trader to another for purchasing goods or services is known as trade credit. So for doing the business, for purchasing good, other trader is giving credit to another trader for expansion or for diversification or for initiation. The credit facilitates the purchase of supplies on credit. The terms of trade credit vary from one industry to another. Small and new firms are usually more dependent on, as they find it relatively difficult to obtain funds from other sources. So here one trade is funding to another trade for facilitating his business. Next is lease financing. So lease is nothing but, a lease is a contractual agreement whereby the owner of an asset grants the right to use the asset of the other party. So here the asset, the owner of an asset means a place, it can be shop, anything. He grants, so it's a contractual agreement, he grants the right to use the asset to the other party, means the lessor grants to use his asset to other party by doing the contractual agreement. So with the help of that also funding can be obtained. So the lessor charges a periodic payment for renting, means the asset that is been granted to use to the lessee will have to pay a periodic payment for renting of an asset for some specified period, and that is called lease rent. So that lease lessee will have to pay in form of rent, periodic payment, and that is called lease rent. Public deposits. A company can raise fund by inviting the public to deposit their savings with their company. Public deposits, yes, there are many companies, many private companies. For example, you can take an example of L&T Finance. So they are inviting public to invest their savings with their company, and it will take care, public deposits may take care of both short term and long term financial requirements of business. There isn't some rate of interest on deposits. If they are investing with the company, for example L&T, then they are getting interest on the deposits, and that is usually higher than the banks which they are offering. So their rate of interest is also higher, and ultimately that L&T company will get fund from public, and they will use for their business expansion or modernization. And similarly, at the same time, the customers who have deposited their savings with the company will get rate of interest on that. So it's and vice versa, both will be benefited over here, and accordingly the fund can be raised for their expansion of business. So that is public deposits. So these all are sources of industrial finance. Next topic is government incentives to entrepreneurs. So what are the benefits that government gives to the entrepreneurs? That will be discussed in this coming topic. Following are the various incentives in the form of subsidies to the entrepreneurs provided by central and state government. So state government and central governments are providing various benefits to the entrepreneurs that we will see one by one. First, subsidizing by providing special economic zone by state government. So that is a special economic zone. Yes, various state governments have identified their special economic zones within their state, and they are motivating, or they are encouraging those entrepreneurs to establish their industry or their business in that particular zone, so that they can get subsidies, they can get benefits that the governments are providing to them. So state government is allocating specially defined in their own state to encourage by investments. They allocate the zone called SEZ, that is special economic zone, and in order to separate them from, so in this special economic zone there are certain benefits that the state government as well as central governments are providing. So they have identified certain special economic zones. In India there are many, but we will go through some examples of the state government. Gujarat state government has identified special economic zones. For example, in Gujarat, that is Dahej, then Adani Port, Kandla Port, those all are in the category of special economic zones, where they are getting special benefits from the state governments and central governments, most probably from the state governments. So that region will be identified by the state government, and they will encourage the entrepreneurs to invest in that particular area. In Gujarat, SEZ has been identified in order to promote new manufacturing organization and allot the land at cheaper rate. Yes, at that identified special economic zone which has been identified by the government, their land rate will be cheaper over there, and they are encouraged or to promote the manufacturing organization at that place. Next, subsidize by providing tax-free income up to certain years. So subsidizing by providing tax-free income up to certain years. So for up to certain years, if you are establishing in that particular selected zone your industry or your organization, then you will get an exemption, or you will be subsidized to, or you will be exempted from the tax. From your income you will have not to pay the tax. So providing exemption in the tax in order to encourage the development of the particular area. So they are encouraging to develop in that selected area, and the benefit that the entrepreneur will get, that is exemption in tax from the income that he is getting, or the income that is generated from that industry or company or business. Tax will be exempted for certain years. For example, in Gujarat, during the earthquake of 2001, Kutch government declared as a tax-free zone for certain years. So in order to develop that area and invite the industries, so government has declared that, okay, we are declaring this zone, Kutch zone, as an tax-free zone. So you can, that years may be decided by the company, that years will be decided by the government. That can be 5, that can be 10, but that is again decided by the government of Gujarat. So that zone was declared at that time tax-free zone. So by doing such things, they are encouraging the entrepreneurs, they are encouraging the businessmen to establish their industry in that zone, and ultimately that will help the employment opportunities for the localities also. So that's a benefit. Next, third point, that is subsidize by providing sales tax concession. So state government is providing exemptions to new units as well as SIC units to certain years, that is 3 to 5 years, and especially in coastal areas, so that entrepreneurs are motivated to establish their business in such coastal areas. So here, whatever the things that you are selling or your industries are selling, you are paying the tax, sales tax to the government. That is means sales tax means nothing but certain amount of tax that you will have to pay to the government. That slab is again divided. That slab is again decided by the government. So that is sales tax that have to be paid, but they are providing the exemptions to certain new units which has been established and certain sick units. Sick units means the units are having less production capacity or their production is less or the demand of that items are less. So they are giving exemptions for 3 to 15 years depending, or the terms and conditions are applied over there. That again depends on the government, state government. Then they are also providing such benefits at the coastal areas where industries and those things or development is less. So sales tax is exempted, or there may be provision of concessions. Suppose the item that you are solving that is of 500 rupees and the tax that is imposed, sales tax, that is 5%, then they can give a concession of 2% so that they will have to pay only 3%. So that is called sales tax concession, the tax which you are paying to the government on selling certain goods or services to the customers. Next, exemption from stamp duty and local taxes. Yes, providing exemption in stamp duty for purchase of land to promote the ventures, and government also gives exemption from local taxes on machineries, equipments and raw materials. Yes, certain taxes are also imposed by state government on purchase of machineries, equipments and raw materials. So exemptions on that local taxes are also there. Stamp duties, so land which you are purchasing, the stamp duty, whatever the stamp duties are, that is also less or exempted. Next is discount in availability of basic amenities. So for running business or any industry, you will require the basic things, that is electricity and water. So that are the basic amenities that will be required. So providing some schemes, subsidizing schemes, the state governing is all. So for that, the state government will offer some discounts on electricity bill or electricity charges and local water charges to promote the entrepreneurs. So they are benefiting by giving them facilities or giving them subsidy schemes for basic requirements or basic amenities like electricity charges and water. Local water charges are also discounted, so that entrepreneurs are motivated to establish in that particular area. Then subsidizing in financial support. Yes, various financial supporting schemes which are giving subsidies to start a new business are also introduced. Yes, Startup India, for example, which are providing financial supports and which are motivating the new businesses to start up. So such financial supports are also introduced by both central as well as state governments. If you are having new ideas, if you are about to establish your new business, so certain financial supports are also provided by both the central as well as state governments. Also new business ventures, entrepreneurs are also given some subsidies on the interest of loans. Yes, the loans if you are purchasing from the bank, so you will have to pay a certain amount of interest for that particular loan, but they will also give some subsidies on that loans which you have borrowed. So again, that is encouraging the entrepreneurs to establish their business. Next, special facilities for EOUs. So EOU stands for export business, export oriented business or export oriented unit. The unit which is responsible or which is exporting the items or the products to other countries. So special facilities are given to them. So in order to promote export business, government is offering special facilities to the units only developed for export oriented business. So they are providing some special facilities like shipment facilities from the nearest port. So export oriented units are given special shipment of export samples from the nearest ports. So for exporting their products to different countries. Shipment facilities are provided. There will be some minimum charges that they will have to pay, so they will encourage. This is all about various incentives or various benefits that the government provides to the entrepreneurs for encouraging them, for motivating them to start up their new business or to expand their business. I hope this presentation would have helped you to understand about entrepreneur. Thank you.